I'm gonna spectate. I
I think it would be best for most people to spectate, and I just want like 1 or 2 people to play like partners.
I don't mind if I go with you, loMe.
Like I guess Noki, you're streaming this, right?
Yeah.
So you go spectate, and then NanoNoob, can you come skulk with me?
Yeah, it'd be good to start off with like showing people the guys that are already out there. I don't think people know about the tutorial stuff.
No, but I mean, I want anyone on in game right now. Like I want people to spectate.
Like, can someone go Reen so we can? I can go Reen, I guess.
Everyone else move to spectate though. Bless, Shifter, Wraith. That's who.
loMe, do you need a guinea pig?
Well, that's what I was gonna use NanoNoob for.
Yeah, I think he means like a marine. Alright, never mind.
You can stay marine.
I'm
Alright, so on Alien early game, the most important thing to do is get the information. So like your early game splits, you need to be, you know, just as important as getting parasites is sound scouting areas. So typically you're gonna sprawl in warehouse at the start as an alien. So you want to send at least 2 people north tunnels. And north tunnels, you need 1 guy very close, 1 guy farther back to get parasites. So you can sit all the way back here for a parasite or anywhere back here while you have another skulk closer up. Because the guy that's close, he's gonna hear if there's anyone coming. If he hears no footsteps, like you can sometimes even get all the way up here, and you can hear everything. You can hear Logi, you can hear south tunnels. So you want to get someone up close and 1 person back, because the guy in the back, he's gonna be the parasiter. So you parasite, so the other marine or the other skulk that's close up can get a good ambush. That's teamwork, and you can do that in any position. So same thing if you were to go repairs at the start, you should really only send 1 person repairs. But again, you could have 1 guy getting the parasites. This is like called setting a pick. So you want to set a pick for, like I'd be setting a pick for NanoNoob. So I'm trying to get the Nano. You should really be, but you could play up here. You could play here, but it's all depending on the timings. So if you have a good spawn, typically you're not getting it yet. If you have a good spawn, you can get up to here. If you don't have a good spawn, you know, somewhere around here. So you get the ambush. So again, you're setting the pick. That's like the most important thing early. You set a pick for your teammates. That way, it's like a guaranteed kill. Now, the person setting the pick, the guy who's parasiting, the other thing you got to keep in mind is you don't want to ever die for a parasite, especially early game. If you miss your first parasite, don't just stand there. Don't make yourself so predictable. Like if you miss here and you just keep going like this, they're just gonna pre-fire you. Like you have to try and get that parasite from another angle. So don't die for the parasite. So typically what I would say is 2 people hub, 1 person repair, and repair is mostly trying to delay any pressure into ore, because if you're trying to cap ore, you just need to delay pressure. So that's why the parasites are so important, because even if you die, like your commander can jump out, and you know when you have the information with a parasite, it makes it so much easier to get the ambush. So 2 people hub, 1 person repair, and then 1 person ET. And ET guy is like, again, you might not get a parasite, but you're sound scouting. So if you're in the ET event, you're gonna hear, all right, 2 people are building, 1 person south tunnel, or you're gonna hear 1 person pushing all the way straight to ET. So you'll be able to hear it. And then that's like the other thing, you need to communicate this shit. You can't just expect people to know what you're hearing, because it won't ever happen. So again, early game, it's really important to play with your teammates, but it's also equally important if you can get a pick. If you have a good position and they're building a node, go for the kill. There's not many situations where you're going to be able to, but the worst thing you can do is just play too passive, and it allows the Marines to move up in groups, and you can't get a good ambush. So if you're playing too much like a fucking pussy, they're just going to get through, and you basically have to keep on backtracking, like back up to meds if you don't actually engage a Marine. So like when I say like if you push up in the ET and you hear only one person here, like take the opportunity to try and push this guy before you finish the power. Like if they send only one person there, like go up and go for that kill. Bite, para, bite. That's how you get the first pick. You bite, para, bite, because you can get that extra para in between. There's no delay, so watch. That's an instant kill at the early game. You out DPS them every time.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How do you do the bite parabyte? Like, do you switch to parasite with your keys, like weapon 1 and weapon 2, or do you use the option for a previous weapon?
I use bite parabyte, so I press 1 and 2. So I go bite parabyte.
Okay.
And like I'm just pressing it, but I mean you could do it whatever you're comfortable doing. But you need to practice it. It's not like something easy. I fuck it up a lot. It's fine if you fuck it up, but you know, just early game, go for it if you can. But if there's like a situation where that guy's already parasited, just go for the bites. Now, moving into like the 2-3 minute period of the game, again, like it's really important to get those parasites early. So if you can get 2 Marines parasited without dying, like it's gonna make it so much easier for the rest of your team to set ambushes. That's what the early game is about, is getting ambushes. And if you can, if you get if you're trapped, like say there's a Marine in hub and you can't, your exit's blocked, you can't get out through north tunnels, you can't get out the mez, delay them. Like this guy here, by doing this early game and delaying them, it's stopping them from pressuring your node. So if you just like keep baiting them, like try and act like you're trying to kill me in north tunnels. Like I'm just gonna keep avoiding you, because what this does is it gives my teammates time to rotate into this fight, but it also delays you from actually pressuring. So like, and like you can just keep doing this. Like you can get the parasite, just keep dodging. The delaying is so important because this guy gets hyper focused on you, and it allows your teammate to walk in and get the kill. Like you're not a person that's actually going to kill this guy. Your teammates will.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll also, you know, even if he abandons you and just straight up leaves, he's setting himself up for you to just approach from behind.
I mean, you're basically making it easy for, like, you've already made it very easy for your team to see the ambush because you have him parasited.
Right.
But also if he gets like, a lot of people like they'll pop out their pistol. Like they'll waste all their LMG ammo on you, and then they take out their pistol. That might be the opportunity you have to get the pick.
I'm learning, nerd.
Abandoning is the worst thing you could do because it just opens your lane now.
Right. The idea is you leave and he just goes behind you and basically gets free access to your back res.
Have you gone over like ambushing yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So again, like get your parasites early game and then ambushes. So the best way to ambush is, you know, having the information scouted out. But if you don't, a lot of times you just need to find a position you know they're going to come at. So like if you're trying to defend ore early game, well, get an ambush before they get into ore. So, you know, this is a common place. People will check up here. So, I mean, I would recommend using this sometimes if the timing is that they're not expecting you to be here. But if they know no one has gone up here, they're going to check this every time. This is only good if they think that nobody's here. A better position, nobody checks here. So you will almost always get an ambush from here. Nobody checks up here. But even that, like, in early game, it's really, really fucking huge if you can get a pick on a guy building an RT. So sometimes that means you have to be super patient. So if they haven't capped their pairs, but it's like 2-3 minutes in, and you have her pairs held, sitting up in this area above the CC gives you an angle to wait for them to build. Like they'll probably build the power node first and then go over there and build. But nobody checks up here either, and this is just like a hiding spot you can sit in. As soon as they tap that RT though, you just have to go in I mean, it really doesn't matter when you go in. You can wait till the end. That'll surprise them more, and they'll try and stick the build better. but you probably won't get the RT at the end because someone will eventually rotate in. So if you can go in when the RT is like 30-40%, then you can get the RT too, or it will get recycled. But getting those like early picks on builders is also huge. They're harder to do, but like because like you still have to clear a good amount of room, and you probably have to land 3 bites because armor 1's up at this point.
So, I have also another question. How do you exactly find those hiding spots? Because there are also more than just the Tram map and so many. And is there like a specific way you always happen to find these spots where you can hide the skull?
I guess the more you play, the more you learn where people don't tend to check. Like, this is not an area that people will check often because there's not really anything for them to get over here. But a lot of times just like something small, like, you know, a wall even, you can hide behind. And most people tend to not like check obvious, like an obvious place. So, I mean, it's kind of map to map that you just kind of got to know the spots. Like even like here, there's a good chance that the Marine comes through and doesn't check here. It's just like about the timings. Like if they do not expect the skulk to be there, even though it might be an obvious spot, if they are holding W, they won't expect you to be there. But even another thing that I'll mention early game is you can ambush, you can get into a position that's like an ambush and not do the ambush. And what I mean by that is like, say you're set up in repairs like right here and you let the Marine run through. But that's not that, like, obviously, like, yeah, it's always good to get the ambush, but it's even better to pull Marines back onto res. So you let them go through and you get through on their res and hit Logi. And even like your first life, this can be like a huge thing, especially if you have like greedy comms on the other side. A lot of times they'll just send pressure early. So you let them run through with the pressure and you just sneak through and like you can get into their base. So a lot of times like what will happen is people will send 2 people through hub, and if you're sitting in this vent, you hear them go through. All right, 2 Marines just opened up a lane for me to go harass the base. So you can just go straight through like south tunnelers or wherever to hit the base. So you don't always have to ambush, and it's kind of like a situational thing. Depending on like what you're hearing throughout from your teammates, like how many people are pressuring. If you know that like 2 to 3 Marines are pressuring early game, like that's an opportunity that they're leaving themselves open for a hit. So not necessarily getting that ambush is the most best thing you can do in that situation. So I'll just talk a little bit about mid and late game is, you know, the main thing for a skulk. If you're still a skulk at that point, you're a res biter. So, and it's all about getting behind enemy lines and pulling Marines back. So you have to be paying attention. You have to use your map key constantly. Like your map key should always be open when like you're not doing anything. Because what that tells you is, you know, even if you don't see someone parasite it, like if your teammate sees a Marine, you know exactly how many Marines are there. Or you know, you have to listen to your teammates' calls. That's why it's important, like, to be calling what you hear all the time. And you have to find the lane that's open or the weakest lane. So if you know like there's like 3 people on ET side, well then repair lane's gonna be the easiest one to get through. And just like pulling on a map like Logi, pulling a Marine back to Logi is huge. It denies any pressure they're gonna do on the other side, and they have to commit 2 Marines to clear it. Because if you get the parasite on the first Marine, you can just harass them with this. Like they can't kill you on their own. So they have to send 2 people, and that 2 people that are sent to you to clear you makes it so much easier for the rest of your team. So and then once you're on the res, it's more important to be constantly res biting. You don't want to be going for like 2 bites if you think you can get 2 bites. Like you more so just want to keep that Marine busy. So if I am in Logi and they only send 1 Marine here, well maybe I'll go through base and go to bite obs instead. And it's just like constantly like, I'm sure you guys have played against where you're constantly having to rotate into different RTs to defend them. It's annoying as hell to play against. but it's the right thing to do. Like Golden's really good at that, just constantly being on res. Like you get the parasite and you get out, and then you go by a different RT. And getting that parasite makes it so much harder for them to retake it because you can just always out-rotate them before they get here. So they're coming from shipping, then you can just go out through obs. The parasite it, when you can go out through south tunnels. So the parasite's really important in the early and mid game. Do you guys have any questions?
Nope, makes sense to me.
Yeah, I probably have a question. So, your job as skulk is pretty much res buying the whole game, but like, is there key moments where you need to prioritize like parasiting pretty much the whole team? I don't know, for example, if the Marines are pushing your hive and I don't know, you need to parasite them all and only then go for respite?
The time you need to worry about parasaiting the most is when fades come up. So if you're still a skulk and like say you were a Lerk player and you lost your Lerk, well, usually what happens, you have like 1 Lerk and 2 fades. So what that really means is you have 1 guy that can parasite. So if that's you, you need to focus on getting the parasites and getting through on res. Also, what I was just about to get into is pack play. So in pack play as a skulk, I'm only talking about skulk here, you need to stick with your pack, but you also need to stay alive in these fights. So in pack play, the way you counter it as a Marine is you kill the skulks. If you kill the skulks, you basically have won. Even if you get cleared, if they don't have any skulks to bite res, you defeated them. So the skulk needs to stay alive. So you do whatever you can to stay alive. You fucking bait your Lerks. Your Lerks and your fades have more mobility than you do. So it's on them to not fucking die. But also, like, there's a sense of urgency too. If it's taking a Lurker or a Marine or a Lurker or a fade too long, like if the Marine is about to get off of reload on his LMG, you need to engage. You need to help your fucking teammate at that point. But it's more important as long as they are not dying. It's more important for you to stay alive in that situation, which is sounds kind of counterintuitive because skulks don't cost a life form, but if they get the skulk, the res butting dies right there, and that's the whole reason you pack play. You pack play so you can clear RTs.
What about just skulk pack play? So like early game and you're all skulks, for example. What would be the recommendation for, like, is it you want Marines to distribute their bullets as evenly as possible? Is that like an optimal engagement? So all of you are slightly chipped, or is it better to have one person kind of, bait shots to the Marines facing the other way so someone can mop up the rest of the picks and win the fight?
Yeah, so what I'll say about that is the importance is that, again, you stay alive in these fights. So, like, if you were pack playing, trying to get through mez to ET, what you need to try and do is if you get focused in a fight, if the Marine's looking at you, you gotta dodge. You gotta do whatever you can. And I don't mean like dodge like sitting on the ground. Like the only times you want to do this ADing is if they have a pistol and they're like only like 2 meters away. So when I say dodge, I don't mean this. When I say dodge, I mean like going on the wall, even like the fucking phone spin me right round thing. Like that's actually like not a bad thing to do. But you need to have them switch targets, or if they are only focusing you, you just like bring them to the ceiling, because that opens it up for the rest of your team there. Like if you have like a high angle and the rest of your team is playing from the ground, like that Marine shooting at you from the ceiling is opening them up for the rest of your team to get through. So again, in these situations, yes, you do want to try and spread out the damage by having them forced to switch targets. Like you want to make yourself hard to kill. You can do that. You can do this ADing stuff by like when I had the Marine parasite in hub before, you just make them chase you, and that opens it up for your teammates. And it's same thing. Like it's if you're dealing with a lurk, if you have lurks on your team, if you get that parasite and you just dodge for a while, eventually that will open up the time for the lurks to come help you. And as skulks too, like you in this like mid to late game when you have fades and lurks, you need to call for your teammates to help you through on res. So like if you're trying to get through to repair, you need to ask a fade player to help you get through. Like they're not going to know to do that. They don't like. The worst thing you can do mid game and late game is just constantly throwing your marine or throwing your skulk into marines by yourself. So you need to like pack. That's what, and like it's not even necessarily pack playing. Sometimes it's just like I need one person to get me through. And in those fights, like you know, if you're trying to get through repair, and you have a fade that can help you, same thing. Your main focus, staying alive. Don't help the fade in that fight. You don't need to. The fade, if it's unless it's like a shotgun, if it's an LMG, that your fade, if your fade dies to an LMG, he fucking sucks. Like you should never lose that fight, and like you don't even have to kill the like in that situation. Like when I say like you suck is the fade. Even if you're losing the fight, the fade should always be able to get out in that situation against an LMG. Against a shotgun, it's a little bit different. If you're hearing a shotgun, like you probably are going to need to help your fade, and you just want to time it so you're jumping in on them after the shotgun shot. So if you're shooting your fade teammate, you want to like go in right after he shoots the fade. So try and listen to the shotgun shots, and like people will shoot the pattern. Like they're gonna just, you know, hold mouse one more or less. So you try and time it so you can go in, and it's the same thing against an LMG. You listen for the bullets. When they start going down to like 10 to 20 bullets left, that's when you want to engage. And it like you at that point, like that's when you probably would want to engage because your fade might be losing the fight at that point. But they don't have enough. They would have to like laser you to finish you off. So you want to time it so you're going in when they're not when they have lost their advantage.
So loMe, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in situations where you have two or maybe even one skulk fighting a node, and you have a marine walking in, when is the right time to jump on the marine, and when's the right time to just die on the node?
Sometimes it's more important to die on the node. If depending on like the res game, like if you guys are struggling to clear res, like you want to maybe both focus the RT, because if you can get the RT done before the marine can get to you guys, then it's going to be a 1v2 and not two 1v1s. And by like two 1v1s, it's like if you have one person ambushing, one person biting, that's a 1v1 right here. And if you lose it, then it's going to be another 1v1. But if you can get the RT before the marine comes in, then it's a 1v2. It's going to be a lot harder for them to win that fight. And then like another thing too is like in the mid to late game, once you have leap, it's really effective to leap at marines and just dodge. Like you leap and get one bite, and you just like keep because it's a lot harder to kill the skulk when you're leaping at them. You can like slowly wheedle them down. Oh, actually, this is a pretty good spot too. I didn't even know about this. So you could sit up here.
Here's a question. So if you have a skulk, so say you said both of your biting repair, you hear a marine coming from Logi, and you want to set up an ambush. Do you have someone like, so for example, is it worth trying to trick the marine into thinking that you've set up two 1v1 engagements, right? Like the idea is the marine thinks that you're both biting that RT, and in reality, both of you have set up the engagement. One of you is maybe parasiting it so it keeps blinking red on their map.
Well, at that point, they'd be able to hear you biting it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. So you can't really like.
You can't play mind games like that. You can play mind games if the marine's like in hub, and you're parasiting the RT.
So what's actually the best thing to do in this situation when it is like when you're forcing it to be two 1v1s is, so you have your one teammate that's fighting the RT, your second teammate, he's just gonna delay as long as he can. So that means you get the parasite, you get the parasite, and when he starts pushing up, you can like fake him out. So make him. It's like the same shit that I was talking about in Hub, where you just dodge bullets, and then all this time your teammate is fighting that RT.
One thing I'm curious about is when Lerk players switch from the rapid biting style of Lerk play to the spike style. Is it just when shotguns come up, or is there like an earlier point, or is it just kind of like as soon as fades pop, at that point you switch over?
I guess that's more of a question for schu.
I believe he's.
Schu is muted.
Yeah, he's deafened.
I mean, I would say you can really do that whenever. It's just a preference. Like, if you can get an ambush, it's like what Noki was saying earlier. If you know you can land, get the ambush on a Lerk, and if you land four bites in a row, you'll win that
Schu's
fight.
muted. Can you ask your question again?
Yeah, I guess if she's here, I just was curious, like, at what point in a round do you tend to switch from a more bite-heavy playstyle to a more spike-heavy playstyle? Is it shotguns? Is it fades? Is it some other point in a round? Or is it kind of like, when... I don't know, I'm just, like, more curious if it's based on the Marine tech or based on the Alien tech.
Wait, what was the question? It was about Lerk?
Yeah, like, when you're a Lerk player, like, I noticed in a lot of Lerk rounds, like, a lot of really good Lerks will switch their playstyle from a biting-heavy playstyle when Lerks first pop to a more spike-heavy playstyle, like, in the mid and late game. And I'm curious as to whether or not that's just like a response to shotguns, because you can't engage.
No, it's not a response to shotguns. It's a response to when fades pop. So when fades come up, the amount of res biting gets decreased. So I switch my playstyle to a more spike heavy, more res biting Lerk than a going in landing bite Lerk. That's literally the reason. It's because when fades pop. It's not because of shotguns. I still bite SGs.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that, just because like it.
But that's just my playstyle. I know a lot of other Lurks like just spike SGs the whole time and just waste meds. But if their back is turned to me, I'm going in for bites. If those Marines have to be cleared, I'm not going to just spike them because the fades aren't going to. The fades get knocked away extremely easily with SGs up.
For a newer Lerk player, would you recommend buying shotguns?
No. So what I would say is like schu and Dogga are like confident they're gonna land all their fucking bites. If you're not confident in doing that, don't do that.
I would say go big or go home. In all honesty, like if you never start off by doing it, you're never gonna do it. But like you have to choose your battles correctly too. Like if the Marine is looking at you, you don't fly into him and fight him. You just spike them.
The mentality behind spiking is you're weakening them for the next engagement. So it's like, it's not really necessarily you're never going to like bite them again, but you use spikes to weaken them for the engagement, so you have an advantage.
So spikes are 12 damage in comp, and they chip away armor really well. So generally you're trying to chip for the next engagement, so people are 2 bites if they don't want.
And I assume that your Lerk is Vamp celerity? If
every Lerk is Vamp until the about 8-minute mark when fades pop, and then I switch to regen.
And there's no carapace in comp mod, by the way.
Yeah.
So I switched to regen because I'm mostly going to be res biting a lot more on Lerk. That's why I switched. And I'll actually change my upgrade.
Yeah, so another question I had that was kind of, I don't know if it's like general or not, but I have not had a chance to play around with Neurotoxin, and I've really not had a chance to play around with Neurotoxin on Lerk. Is it just bad on Lerk,
yeah,
or is it
just
is it any good on other life forms?
Fade and Lerk, or Fade and
Broken on Fade.
Bad on Lerk because at that point the Lerk switches to more of a support class than aggressive.
So the reason why Vampirism is used on like every Lerk right now is because you can tank about 270 damage. That's a lot. Maybe more actually, but Vampirism allows you to lawn more Marines easier. If you can
Right.
land your bites, Vamp is really strong.
Yeah, that does check out. I mean, you have, especially when Lerks first pop. Like I assume that kind of the role they play is to kind of be that frontal combat unit.
Well, it was so strong in fact that we had to nerf Vamp on Lurks because it was just way too powerful. Like they were taking 300 damage and living. So like we had to nerf it on comp. It was just way too strong. It's still the same in vanilla. So I don't know if you guys just go play Lurk on vanilla and use Vampirism, you'll notice that you'll be taking a ton of damage when living.
How much Lerk bite accuracy do you need to say that it's worth taking Vampirism over Region?
About 70%.
70. Okay.
I would say you could do the 65s. You're fine.
Yeah, because I'm also getting 65 Lerk bite accuracy and feel like I missed some. And I'm worried whether Vampirism is good on me or not.
Well, I also find, I mean, my Lerk personally, which is much worse than Schu's. I mean, I'm always kind of like iffy when I look at my Lerk accuracy at the end of the game because it includes like easy Lerk accuracy, like lawnmowering, and then hard Lerk accuracy, which is like, you know, those fights where you're flying all over the place.
It takes into account spikes as well. Every spike that you miss is counted as like a miss, so.
That doesn't count for your Lerk bite accuracy, right?
No. But like your overall accuracy on
Right.
Lerk will be
But
because of spikes.
correct me if I'm wrong, but spike accuracy is like virtually irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're like chipping away at them, you're doing your job. I don't care about your accuracy really. A lot of Lerk players at the end of the game will usually have anywhere from 30 to like 40% accuracy for the most part.
Not to mention it's really hard to land all of the spikes, so it's not really big of a deal if you miss a couple.
Well, if you're missing opportunity if you're only, shooting where you're gonna hit. You know what I mean?
I guess my last question about like especially comp aliens is where, because I've never played a comp round that's gone to Onus. So when you have Onus on the field, and you have you have your 5 field plays and you have the comp, do you have any skulks at that point, or are Lurks responsible for backers
There's
exclusively?
always skulks, man.
It's
Players
just
lose,
somebody has died by then.
Players lose their life forms all the time. All the time. There's
when
always a
Onos
skull.
come out, like Marines are gonna dive the Onos. Like that's purely what they're gonna shoot. So
As I
But
learned.
yeah, and Onos isn't winning a fight if there's 3 Marines there. Like you're not going to be able to solo. Like most of the time, when you're in Onos, you're going to be running into packs of Marines at that point. So if you see more than 3 and you don't have the life forms to back you up, everyone's just going to focus you. You're the fucking target. You're the biggest target.
What if you got Stomp though and they don't have jetpacks?
Stomp is on 3 hives on comp.
Yeah, Stomp's not a thing in comp.
We moved it to Biomass 9 because it's just so aggravating being on 2 hives and they have.
Onos is also super shit without any upgrades, so like you need to have at least charge to
Bone
be able
Shield?
to do anything. Bone Shield's super strong.
Bone Shield alone, we nerfed it in comp a while ago and it's still really, really strong.
You can take on 3 Marines at a time with Bone Shield. Not by yourself, but
yeah, you need.
Yeah, currently you can tank theoretically infinite bullets.
The Onos right now in comp is so broken. In all honesty,
They're good. People just don't play.
They're so good.
I just don't see a lot of matches. I mean, again, maybe I have my pool is very small, but I feel like most comp matches, compared to pubs especially, like they don't get as far on the tech tree before the matches tend to end.
I think it depends on the teams at that point.
This game is very snowballing.
It's because if you lose whatever that you were holding, and you have no res anymore, then you can just tell like, all right, if we play it out, it's gonna last for like another 5 more minutes, but it's gonna we're gonna lose. Like,
how do you properly enter a fight as a Lerk?
Yeah, Schu, can you go Lurk and show a couple movements?
Bro.
You can do the figure 8. That's what she likes to do.
It does it the fucking doggo. It works.
How do I enter a fight properly? Who asked that question?
Spooky.
Oh. Okay, so are you watching? Here's how I enter the fight. I'm kidding. No, I mean like you can do like this. You can do like this, right? And it'll make them miss. It depends on like who you're fighting and if they're reloading or not. If they're reloading, you don't have to dodge anything because they're not gonna shoot you. You just go on and bite them.
Think about when you're a Marine fighting this kind of Lerk, you need to be burst firing. Like, you're not going to be shooting 100% accuracy against this shit. You have to burst fire. Like wait for until you get an opportunity, and like always cracking away. Like make him have to close more distance as a Marine.
Sure. Where people actually fight as a Lerk? Okay, yeah, I can do mezzanine. So if there's like a Marine or two in mezzanine and the Lerk is leading the fight, I usually do it like this.
Isn't like the ideal to like if they don't see you, then you don't flap so they don't hear you, so you've already got a fight or
but
two
most of the
before
fights
they...
you're not gonna.
I mean, it seems like that's the ideal.
You just want to dodge, really, if you're leading a fight as a Lerk.
Another really good option is to enter very low. You can almost go underneath of them. Like if you're coming around a corner, going in low, because like a Marine might be waiting, like watching a corner. Like if you're in, if you're coming from server schu.
Yeah. I mean, I use the environment a lot. I use the map's geometry.
Like typically, I'm going to be looking like almost like body level. So going low is a really good option a lot of the times.
Yeah. So this here, like where you just like glide on the ground, it's called the shark Lerk, in case you were wondering.
Sand shark kind of style.
Yeah. I get a lot of kills like that, to be honest. By just gliding on the ground at people.
Oh yeah, it's really good against shotguns.
Do we want
It's
to
like
do a
flat on the ground.
quick run through of Fate before we move on to Marine?
Are we going over every life? Oh my god.
Well, yeah. If people have questions, we'll go do more in-depth stuff. But
honestly, I'd like to see more Gorge players. But...
I definitely want to learn more about Gorge, but
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I mean, does anybody have strategy for the Gorge? That's like
Dude, I have always
we have
said
a lot of people. Do we want to show like actual pack?
I have been saying for a long time that the Gorge is by far the strongest alien life form.
we can do situations if you want people to go Marine. And...
Fade, you typically want to run upgrades of, you're going to have typically Crag Hive and Shade Hive, so you want to have Neurotoxin super strong. But if you're worried about, like, if you're at a situation where, like, you're the solo Fade and they have, like, jetpacks and something, you might want to use Aura so you can avoid getting pinched. But most of the time, Neurotoxin is the best option.
So
Vampirism's super strong for Fade, but again, sometimes regen is okay.
So we remove Focused from comp because it's stupid. And it's terrible. And we replaced it with another ability called Neurotoxin. Now, Neurotoxin really is only viable on two... Well, yeah, I'm going to say two life forms. It's really, really good on Skulk and really, really good on Fade. Lerk, not so much. But here's the thing, like, you can still switch out and use, like, Aura still. Like, Aura is still really good.
Yep.
But Neurotoxin on Fade, in all honesty, I use it all the time. It's so good. You get kills, like, after you leave the fight and, like, the Marine dies.
Celerity is somewhat useful on Fade, but Adrenaline is also just as good. So, I mean, I think it's interchangeable. Some people say Adrenaline is just really the best one, but I tend to use Celerity. But we usually don't see much spurs upgrades on competitive games. It's usually almost exclusively Kara and Crag Hive and our Shade Hive.
I know some people like Celerity, but it seems almost like it's like a free hive kind of thing, because it's like one hit and you're gone, so that's fine if you have either...
Celerity just doesn't give enough of a bonus for it to be worth. Like, the speed bonus is not that great.
Right.
Can we do a quick situation where RangeR can show how to properly play Gorge when you're in a pack?
Alright, who's dying to the pack?
I volunteer myself, but I would like one more Marine. Maybe Nano?
So we need like a skulk and a couple people. that want to skulk with it.
Schu, Bless Me asks if it's a bad idea if you're behind a Marine silent gliding as a Lerk. Is it bad to spike that Marine prior to starting your bites?
Depends on the gun. Depends on the gun.
If it's a rifle, yeah, you like the second you spike them, that's when they turn around, they flip. That's when you tell them you're there. If you can get on top of them biting them, like it's almost always better.
If they have a rifle or an HMG, I don't spike them. If they have a shotgun, or I'm sorry, I do not spike Marines that have, if I'm behind them, if they have a rifle or an HMG. I spike them if they have a shotgun though.
Can I get one more volunteer and Miz as a Marine, please? Thank you, Omega.
Sure, then we'll do it from server to most.
Yeah.
I like to have like one more skulk probably. Who knows how to skulk?
But it also depends, like, if like a skulk landed like 2 bites on that Marine before I engage, and the skulk says, hey, that Marine, he took 2 bites off me, and he's alone, I'm just gonna go in and just slam bites. I'm gonna spike him. Everything's kind of situational.
Omega, set your respawn.
Badly's dead. Quick for it, my god. You guys ready?
Yep. Go.
Alright. So we have 2 here. Let's go. So I'm contact. I want to be with them. If they start shooting me, I'm gonna run though. I'm gonna dodge, you can clog. But generally, like, focus you or not focus, you guys be back. Let's go.
So you're deathballing it, you're just healing them as they fight. So,
you're the light from this. You're the main target with the...
Omega, are you shooting?
Try and actually shoot, buddy.
Omega, shoot. We're playing it for real. We're playing it for real.
Yeah, play how you would normally.
Yeah.
So you can spit, but you want to make sure you're like leading the fights. Because you don't want as many skulks to die as possible.
Okay, so we're gonna run that again, but this time Omega, focus the Gorge.
Yep. Alright, so let's go. So they focus, like, you have a lot of things you can do. So you can use things like this to dodge.
This is why Gorges are so strong.
You just, like, the second you notice you're being shot, you need to take cover. And the second you stop being shot, you need to go back in.
Do one more focus.
What's the Gorge HP change compared to vanilla, if there is any?
It's the same as vanilla, I believe. You just can't have therapist. So if we go, I notice I'm being focused, I jump down, I jump back up.
What about,
and if the Gorge plays well, that's almost impossible to lose as the aliens.
Even if you lose a skulk out of that pack, it doesn't matter, because like, you just killed 2 Marines off the map, and you can go hit a node off of it. Keep the pack going.
Gorges are super important. I say super important. If there's a gorge, you should be trying to kill them in packs. Like, if you're fighting Lerks and there's a gorge, there's 2 Lerks and a gorge, you're shooting that gorge. You want it to die.
If it's a 2v2, then you don't engage the other 2.
2v2, that
You gotta pull back.
happens. You don't fight 2v2.
You don't engage with a skulk and a gorge versus 2 Marines. You're not gonna win that.
You'll fight 2v1, 3v2.
You always want to have at least one more skulk.
In that situation, you just want to get the parasites, so you get your team to regroup.
2v2 we can try with schu and loMe. Alright, so
what about as the Gorge? Sometimes when I'm doing the death ball tactic,
So we can do a 3v2 where you guys push in the server.
Do you guys want us to have upgrades for this? Or?
Okay, never mind.
you can keep going with your question.
Well, I just want to know what you thought about. Sometimes what I do is I run directly at Marines, get real close, and just bounce around them, kind of, while I'm healing the skulks. I don't know if you've ever tried it.
And kill you.
Ready?
That's never gonna work against the better players.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'm kind of the bait here.
So like if they have weapons upgrades, it seems like it doesn't
If
work.
in early game you don't want to bounce around Marines, they'll track you and you'll die way faster than the skulk.
What me and Schu are doing in this situation is like we're listening to the gunshots, and like when it gets to a point where like it seems like they're over committing to Gorge, that's when we're attacking.
And I'm just using the second I notice something, should I just run around the corner?
Yep.
But you are very important to aliens. You can carry an alien team. So if he's low, I'll be trying to heal him as he goes in.
Omega didn't even go.
At this point, I know he can't out DPS me. Just holds.
Any other questions?
How do you guys like to use cloggs?
Ooh, Ranger, can you show how to clog like North tunnels?
North has a variety of ways to do it. Just depends which one you want to do.
I kind of want to see the clog
Some
getaway
people
as well,
do
Ranger. If you can
tower.
show me how you do the like the
Okay.
on escape clog webbing kind
So
of
if
thing.
you're like shift, you drop it here, behind you. Just run, drop it behind you, keep going. Turts did it the best.
So
out of
you can
everyone.
like, there's a certain way to like clog and then slide off it like that. I don't
Yeah,
do
you can
that
also
shit
do
though.
that. But that's not really all that great.
Like it gives you a speed boost, but I don't fucking do it.
It's you get shot for it. So generally, you want to keep going, and then like you do a quick 180 with your clock selected. You just slap it behind you really fast. Well, other
So-
time, like your main getaway is the your bunny hop, where your WD spacebar, where you're doing this. This is
Yeah, can you
most
show how to clog North tunnels, Ranger, at the start of the game? Like you were to set it up?
Sure. I do it this way because this is just the easiest. But some people like towers. I don't know.
I don't like
This is
towers. I like doing
very
it side to side.
optional.
Yeah.
I prefer this.
With towers, you can do it with less clogs.
Yeah, that's true, but I prefer these.
Do you
So I
use
think-
clog?
With
Hold on.
those life forms, this is enough. This
Can I just explain real quick about towers? Because I see people do it
Yeah,
incorrectly
please.
all the time.
Yep.
Schu does it incorrectly. ADHD does it incorrectly.
Bullshit.
You don't tower by placing them like this. That's not the way to do it. You tower
You stand on
by,
them, right?
by putting them right underneath you.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's how you get it most consistent.
What's the difference?
It doesn't matter.
Because look, this
Doesn't
one's
matter.
fucking curved.
Yeah, it's slightly curved.
Yeah, that's
big
fine.
deal.
A
You're
curve is
losing
nice.
height, and you
A
can
nice
jump.
little curved dick is fine.
Marines
That's
can
what
jump
she
on
said,
top of it. Marines can jump on top of this and go over top of it.
A nice little curved Dickleton is really, really good, dude.
I could jump on this too, so I don't think it matters.
I didn't finish that one.
The clogs
Okay,
are there
so
just to stall,
anyway,
man.
if
Like,
you're
they can still
safe,
jump
you can
over
do
it.
the towers like this. If you're not safe, like, you do them the normal way.
Okay, so what about the reason that you even do towers besides blocking a door? Like,
Okay, so you're blocking LOS. So let's say, for example, I have an extra clog here. I'm going
Ranger, what is
bang,
LOS?
Bang. Line
Line
of
of
sight,
sight.
buddy. So you're.
No, I know it.
This is another thing for people to hide behind.
okay,
And aliens are way better than Marines when they. Because the closer you are to a Marine, like, the better your odds of killing them.
yeah.
So that's a big thing on both Marines and Aliens. Aliens, you're trying to find the best way to get close to a Marine with the least amount of damage. Marines are trying to keep distance while also killing aliens.
So what about later game when they have grenades and they can pop all your clogs at once? Do you use them at all?
I
They
mean,
can be found
generally,
on purpose.
at that point, like, if there's grenades, like, we're that late, like, you're not even thinking about clogging anymore. Like, I'd say after, like, 5 minutes, you're probably not caring about doing any PvE. You're probably packing. Like, the entire game, you're just packing. You're going hard with your pack.
Ranger,
You
is
have
there
two
any?
rare skulks.
If you guys see
Whatever
these
it's called.
clogs, this is a pretty good place to clog. This blocks,
Really?
blocks. Like it will
Yeah, you can do
make it so you can hold mez a lot easier, and Marines have to shoot these clogs to get through from hub.
Well, you're
Rangers
generally
are-
never taking repair.
Is there ever a point when you need to throw your gorge to
Oh.
go bite res?
Actually, yeah,
That's
I think
never-
about it.
Unless, like, there's no pack anymore, like, I don't really throw gorges.
You can actually do this with
Really
just
good.
This is where me and Ranger disagree. I think gorges are used all game.
I only want them thrown away if I know the gorge isn't gonna backfly. I let the people who don't know how to
And
backfly.
I always see a use for gorges at any moment.
Yeah, but at that point you can have frags.
Or what if you have too many gorges because you just built a hive? That's when I
Or you
sometimes
only have one
like
gorge because
gorge.
it's 656.
I don't know how many 6v6 games we've had 2 Gorges on, if it's ever happened. I don't know.
What if your Gorge is a commander? Yeah, that happens too. Like the comm will go Gorge, and then the guy that was Gorge on the field gets off Gorge.
But your main goal as a Gorge is you should be almost trying to die while helping your pack. Like, you want to stay alive with the pack as long as possible. If you do die, though, it's fine. I'd probably stay skulk from there. Generally, it depends on the state of the game. Sometimes you want to re-gorge.
The Gorge
So you
dying
can
after you build the second hive is fine, right?
You're fine to die from there, like, you're trying to pack play from there. If you die, it's okay. Like, I wouldn't... You might want to re-gorge when gates go up, because you can kill gates with gorges on it.
So what about if the commander...
Bomb, just so you
Sorry.
know.
What if the commander's a Gorge just solely for the purpose of you drop 3 upgrades, you hop out of the chair and you build them quicker, because that's like a time advantage that hardly anybody ever does. I try to build upgrades if I can when the comm drops them and I'm gorging, but it seems rare that it's ever like... It's almost never happens.
I wouldn't say that is almost ever necessary in 6v6, because you're never going to want like upgrades that fast, generally. It's very rarely a case.
So, is this training purely 6v6 focused, I guess? Because I missed the beginning, because the person said 2 hours.
Yes, but a lot of it will
2
transfer
hours
to
ago.
pub games. I mean,
This is mostly for comp.
Just talk Marine.
do we need to do fade first, or is there no fade questions?
So life forms is really simple. Just stay alive. That's like your main goal. That's your number 1 goal. Stay alive.
He's right.
I do some stuff with Gorgeous that I guess, but if you guys don't want to go on, I was going to talk about some things I do with clogs to try to make them useful. But
Oh god, now we're going to Marines. There's so much to cover on Marines. Oh.
Well, Schuboo, let's see it.
Bro.
Laning, checking corners, tapping nodes.
Bro.
Explain, Schuboo.
Marine is so hard to teach. It's so
Hey,
hard.
teach it the best way you can.
Why do you think Hera's video is like 2 hours long, man?
Yeah, but it's outdated. You
Dude,
gotta...
teach what someone needs to know to play a gather and not get screamed at.
Everything Hera says is still relevant.
Nah, man, it's outdated. Look, it's so many years ago. We gotta refresh it, the information.
Not much has changed since that video. Marines
I'd
still
say
play the
almost
same.
nothing has changed. I think Hera's video is like one of the best for that.
If you haven't seen Hera's video, you should watch it. Even like from me, when I go back and rewatch it, it like gives me reminders about things that I probably stopped doing.
I think the hardest part about Marines is learning when to push and when to defend.
And when to rotate.
And when to rotate. Those are like the hardest things to play on Marines, because a lot of people don't think about that stuff. They're always like, I got a crosshair and I got a gun. I'm gonna line it up on the target and shoot him. And that's all that they think about. And that's really like towards the end of the priority list of marining. Like it's not that important.
Are you talking about Will?
No, I'm talking about just everyone that hops on and plays
That was
Marines.
a
Like
joke.
they always talk about like their accuracy and shit. And like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. When I want my team to win, I don't want to have any fun. Sometimes it's just about keeping rest notes up, but it's miserable.
Now in pubs, I will say, like, if you want to hit tier 7 in pubs, it is about that. Because all you do is, like, because a lot of players in pubs don't use their brain at all anyway, so you just go around and you just get kills, right? And then you rank up because you just killed everything. But in gathers, it doesn't work like that at all. You will lose. You will lose in 6v6 if you just hold down your W key constantly, go off alone and just go for kills.
Hear that, Nano?
I haven't done that in a while. Shut up.
You'll be feeding constantly. It's called feeding.
I also heard
Feeding on
that...
aliens. By the way, feeding on aliens is not the same as feeding on Marines. Aliens, if you feed, you're a liability. Like, eggs work differently than IPs do, so you gotta take that into account.
Yeah, just ask me. I'll tell you all about it.
You have eggs, right? And they are spawned by the hive over a course of time. IPs just constantly spawn Marines, no matter what.
RangeR.
Constantly spawn. Aliens don't. So If you're constantly feeding and you run out of eggs, now the comm has to spend res to respawn you guys, which is bad news bears.
Yeah, I try to take advantage of that sometimes if possible. Do something dirty,
Well, there's actually Marines out there that'll look for that, and then they'll go in your hive and just kill like the last egg, and you guys can't spawn.
So, what I like to do when someone's pushing a hive, sometimes, this is only opportune once in a while. If they're going to push a hive, right when they go in, I run into the other hive if we're on advanced weapons with a flamethrower and try to egg block them. Nobody does that, but it works really good sometimes.
Egg blocking is a legit
screaming.
It's crazy because like you can keep like 3 to 4 skulks in the spawn queue for like a minute and a half. It's so crazy, and by then like the game's already over.
Yeah.
So
Hey, shoot, once gates are up and you have a hub gate and a mez gate, where do you want your Marines?
Hub and mez.
I'd say 3 gates, so you're probably gonna have 1 hub, 2 mez, and then you probably have a solo rifle, like left side, pressuring ore and flat. He's not ore is down, he's pressuring flat, and you just keep doing that. As a rifle, it is okay to feed on gates when you are running down the pressure as a solo rifle.
So, do you guys care at all about ore pushes in 6v6? Because in pubs they're like stupid.
What do you mean, like ore to warehouse?
Yeah.
Gates, or... We don't really get warehouse gates. Server's easier to push. And you hold more res with those 2 gates, hub and mess.
Arcing warehouse seems to be fairly common as well.
Yeah,
Well, from North Tunnel seems easy, but it seems like I end up in games where they try to do it from ore and it's just...
When I
it never
started out
works.
Wraith, I just capped nodes, and I felt like I was doing something.
I think the most important is definitely rotating the fights, which is bad word. So say I'm hub, and there's 2 Marines in repair, 2 in ET, and for example, someone would be calling, or you can listen in you. There's a cross repair, what are you gonna do? You're gonna rotate in. You're gonna run from hub, you're gonna run over here. Someone dies over there and you're in hub, you're going to run over here. You are not going to keep walking down hub. You have to rotate into fights as Marines. When people die, you need to be moving towards them. Even if they win the fight, you need to go weld them. Armor is important in this game. Every life is valuable.
Quite honestly, if you guys are trying to improve, and it sounds like you guys are, the fastest way to do it is play gathers, and I'm not bullshitting.
I was just about to say that, Schu, thank you.
It's literally the fastest way. Like, if you're like a tier 4 player, you'll probably skyrocket to tier 6 in about a month if you play.
I started playing gathers at tier 4.
I can confirm that.
Ago. And now I'm a tier 7 that's kind of okay. So.
Yeah, we just need a lot more people playing them. I
haven't been happening
get in
every
gathers or
night.
pubs like half of the week because I have a very strict bedtime. So when I work.
You have to join a team to play gathers? No, you don't. It's open to anybody.
It's how you get noticed to get on a team, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's how you
Yeah.
get on a team.
And then you can
Gathers.
play tournaments
That's how you
and
get
stuff.
noticed. Yep.
Yeah, gathers basically play like a. If you've ever played a captain server, it's the same concept.
Exactly.
Except you'll be last picked as a tier 5, whereas on captain servers for pubs, you're usually not last picked there.
Yeah, Omega, I'm the better example.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, well, I went from tier 4 to tier 2, so.
Well, the whole point is, and listen, I still get yelled at all the time in gathers because I don't.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm pretty much the worst in there, but when I join pubs, I just destroy.
I'm right
everybody.
there, Omega. What are you talking about?
Well, do
So
you not
you guys
like
will
listen to the
see
comm?
tier 6 gathers destroy tier 7 pubbers.
That's 100%.
Wait, what? A tier 5?
Tier 5
Yeah,
gather
tier
players
six
destroy
gather
tier 6
Yeah,
pubbers.
a tier 5. Yeah, that's true. A tier 5 gather player goes on a pub. And
Like, look at P-Stash. P-Stash is tier 5, but he destroys pubs.
Because if you're playing against better players, you obviously get getting better yourself. So the players that you're facing in pubs, like It's let's say the difference between a pub and gather is like day and night difference. You take more responsibility. You need to not to die stupidly like in pubs, because in pubs you can do every bullshit and it works and you gain elo and you think you done a good job, but in gather you actually learn the game and play correctly.
So this is why when I was on the event team on the NSL, I wanted to do like a gather-thon, where you get one experienced player on each team and get brand new players in so that they can actually enjoy gathers without being like, oh, you know, I don't want to be the reason why my team loses. I don't want to get yelled at, etc., etc. But honestly, it's the best way to learn, especially when you're playing with experienced players. Like, dude, you're gonna learn shit quick, really quick. I'm talking maybe 10 to 30 gathers, man. Like,
yeah,
you will notice a huge difference.
It took me a month to go Tier 4 to T6.
The first few gathers that you play, you might be lost, you might not know what the hell you're doing, but dude, it only takes about 10, and you're like, okay, I kind of get it now. I see a pattern, and I see what's going on. Because there is a pattern.
Yeah, Noki's right. Even if you're not in the gather and you're waiting for the next one, always spec the gather and listen into a team's communications. Very helpful.
Yeah, NSL Discord is open for everyone. You can come on in, it's the same password as the server, you can come on in, watch them gather.
But, I mean, I stream this game every day, and I play gathers pretty much every day. So.
By the way, if you're T3 or whatever it is, you can play gathers any level. There's no restrictions.
We've
Obviously,
had peaks and gathers.
We don't recommend you being a pink and joining, but
I recommend Tier 5.
You can play. Right. You can play. No one's gonna say you can't. Like, there's rules and regulations. So
yeah, and if you're struggling hitting Tier 5, come play gathers, and it might just be enough to get you there.
You definitely like a minimum bar, I feel like, to really enjoy a gather format, because you're going to be playing with a bunch of titans the bulk of the time. I feel like TD is going to be a good example of the 6v6 format, where you contribute more, the map plays differently, and there's less kind of like beating your head against shit. But definitely like
TD is comp mod.
Thunderdome is comp mod, yes.
Yep. Right, but it's not going to have, you're not going to be in Tier 7 versus Tier 2 as often, supposedly.
Well, all I know is that when TD comes out, I'm not playing pubs anymore, so.
Nope.
You'll see me.
Well, fingers crossed, nobody will, and everyone will be playing TD instead.
I'll see you in the dome, schuboo.
Yeah.
The future of NS2.
Well, I don't know, like, if I were you guys right now, I'd just join the gather and just play gather and just see how it goes.
Facts.
You guys will learn so much more than us just talking about, here's how you play skulk. You go on the wall, you ambush, you parasite. Like, you can get told that all day, but when you actually do it in a gather, and you have a person saying, fucking parasite him, dude! Like, then you'll know. Like, okay, I should probably parasite.
I can tell you from experience, the best learning is having schu scream at you, and then you learn.
It's definitely body blocking schu's hand grenades.
Bro.
I think a common thing is, like, a lot of new people who join gathers, they'll say, like, oh, my accuracy isn't good enough, but I think, would you agree that, like, positioning and, like, knowing where to be...
Golden is a prime example.
Yeah, Golden is, like, not the best in mechanical skill, but he's still, because he played a lot of gathers, he plays, yeah, he covers that gap pretty well. So, like, a bad aim is not really an excuse to, like, say, not to play gathers.
I don't know, if it's, like, criminally bad, if you're shooting, like, 8%.
Bro, we've had it happen multiple times over the last month, so, yeah.
Well, I don't know, it feels like, especially in 6v6, like, dead weight is pretty dead weight.
Yep. But how are you gonna learn?
I think that we still won with that Arab King shooting 8%. I'm pretty sure that we won still with him shooting that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just you definitely. It's very obvious when you're kind of like dicking around by yourself, and you're expected to be kind of predictively positioning yourself. I think that's a big difference. Whereas in pubs, like, there's a lot of just beating your head against walls, and then you just assume if you're beating your head against this wall, someone else can beat their head against that wall.
So, for improving marine accuracy, even though it's not the most key thing, Do you guys have any suggestions? Because I've learned some weird stuff about like some of the net code and like certain settings that will affect it like way more aggressively than you might be aware.
Marine accuracy is literally just practice.
I'm just holding left mouse button at the target, right, infinitely. Usually there's burst fire involved if they're gonna block you with LOS blockers and stuff. Like you don't just left mouse the thing that they hid behind.
What I got told by Noki is that aiming pretty much is all about positioning and movement, and I think Hera even told it once, but basically let me switch to Marine real quick. So I'm gonna just copy the scenario that he did. So basically imagine that let's say the skull comes from over there. You can probably try to do this, Knifey, and he goes like over here. So I can just stand over here, not moving at all, and try to track him, which will actually be harder than if I do this. Because if you notice that my crosshair, when I do the W and A, it automatically tracks and I don't need to move the mouse. So in this part it's like movement based. See, I'm not moving my crosshair at all. I'm just holding W and A or D and it like tracks automatically. And positioning, I suppose it's pretty much same as movement, but you get what I'm trying to say is that...
So you're trying to parallel their movement is what you're saying? To
Yeah.
help you aim?
Yeah. Yeah,
So the best way to train aim is to either go on combat or Kovacs, whatever the hell you need. I don't believe in Kovacs, but that's just me. But a lot of people swear by it. It's
Well, I have one thing I can tell you guys that's not about in-game that I learned that's really weird. It's really common to suggest disabling IPv6 for net speed, but this game will port from IPv4 to IPv6, so it will fuck you up. You have to have both on.
Bro, you're going like way. Like I don't even do any of that crap you're talking about.
Right. Well, a lot of people try to optimize net settings and stuff like that, and
So
that's a really
disable.
common one that will screw you up.
So you want high FPS. If you're playing at like 60 FPS, dude, I feel bad for you.
Oh, rest in peace, man.
But you will start getting input lag if you're under 100 frames in this game. Your mouse actually lags behind your movement.
What's the command to see my current FPS?
FPS and comment.
Everyone that's good aim always says 144 hertz monitor is the minimum.
Yeah, because...
Yep. That's on any FPS though. Like you want the higher refresh rate. Doesn't mean that you can't play on 60 hertz, but it's just so much better on 144.
Well,
Yeah,
they
what's
say
your-
that their aim went up a lot, even though they didn't really change.
But
Also,
I
make
mean,
sure when you get the higher hertz monitors, you actually set it to the higher hertz. Don't be a Papega.
I would recommend if you're not pulling at least 100 frames, you need to start lowering your resolution. You need to turn everything off. All those nice little I got some shadows. Yep, turn that shit off. Like you need to disable all that stuff.
Dude, what about rich infestation shoot? I like the way it looks.
That kills your FPS by about 50, so yeah, turn that off.
I can tell you that limiting your FPS just below your refresh rate, somebody else suggested it makes the game look significantly
What
smoother.
about Alien Vision? I think that yours is trash, Wraith, and I'm not lying.
Oh my god. Oh.
Bro, the webs are invisible on his Alien Vision. They're bad. You
But-
can't see your own webs. No, I'm good. I'm using my Alien Vision where you can actually see everything.
But honestly speaking, Schu, I found out that enabling shadows, you sometimes can see the shadow of the skulk, which probably like lurks in some place.
Schu, which one are you using?
I'm using the real Schneitzy. The real Schneitzy Alien Vision.
I have a really funny question for you guys. Do you use a mouse pad?
Oh.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Well, that was funny.
What's that mouse pad, dude?
Can I eat
Do
it?
not play on hardwood.
Also,
Well, you know, some of them are the size of a desk pad.
All I know is that if if I'm a alien player and I'm using Wraith's alien vision and I can't see the webs because they're invisible and I want to beta marine into the webs, that's going to be a problem. So I'd rather use this alien vision that I'm using where you can actually see it. You get a big brain.
Also, Schu, what aiming grip are you using? Like claw, palm, and finger?
I don't know. I'm just like lightly resting my hand on it.
Because apparently, I'm not sure, but I got told that with fingertip, you outly can have a better aim than with like a palm. But I'm not sure about that.
Claw is.
So I don't care about grip. Like I don't care about grip, but I don't know. Like you need to find a sensitivity that works for you, and it can either be the same on both sides, or you can have two different ones. I use a lower one on Marines and a higher one on aliens.
You can also change each life form sensitivity if you don't know that.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yes, if you go into general under controls and you click on life form specific sensitivities, you can change it.
Oh, I might up my skulk a little bit, which could be dangerous.
I was using a high sense with Mouse Excel for a long time. I just noticed it like 2 days ago. I disabled Mouse Excel, lowered my sensitivity.
I love mouse acceleration. Everyone's always like,
I don't know, dude. I was shooting like 27% on gathers, and now I'm shooting like 35%. So.
It's scary.
Well, I have weird problems. Like in one server, I'll ping like 20, and I'll get like 24%, and I'll go to another server, like a bad server, and I'll get like 37%.
Okay, whatever you're shooting on a pug right now, half that, and that's what you're gonna shoot in gathers.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck.
I wouldn't really agree with that.
I don't know if I'd say that, but like...
I shoot like 26, 27 gathers, and then I go play
pubs.
pubs.
You're shooting like 40% in pubs.
Okay, yeah, I guess, yeah.
It's basically half, like...
Yeah, I was in the 20s at the last
I'd say maybe 3/4, but...
15% less, or 13%. People will bait your bullets, they will dodge, like you're going to miss a lot more against better players. Especially
I'm always trying to get a Marine to reload.
Yeah, that's fine though. Like, there's some comp players that will not pre-fire at all on corners because they don't want to lose accuracy. They legit don't.
Yeah, you guys gotta tell us some more interesting Marine stuff. Maybe you don't even know some of your habits that are good.
I don't know. I would just recommend watching people stream gathers and watch how they play.
Do you try to lead your targets at all?
Yeah, that's called prediction. Yeah.
Listen, watch the Heracles videos. They're
Yes.
very important. And they are very relevant.
Now, the biggest piece of advice I think all of us can agree on here is go to gathers.unicell.org.
Oh, here comes again.
And join the gather.
Join the gather.
Yeah, do it.
Come in, dude.
All the new players join right now.
Trial by fire. Trial by fire. Just go in, dude.
Oh god.
We are at 8 right now.
All of you
We're
new
at
players,
10.
go join
We're
the
at
gather.
11.
We are waiting for you.
We need 2 more. Who just left?
No. Let some
on,
of the
Red,
new players in.
here.
Let the new players in.
It's time.
Hey, I've been waiting since 4 o'clock. Okay. I'm staying.
And if you guys aren't going to play them, I will be casting them if you want to watch them.
I would love that.
Slaughtered and watch it.
The thing with the Heracles videos is like, I think in one of the videos he says like he doesn't aim at corners when he's checking them. He like keeps his mouse centered and he just like uses
It's the opening
strafe.
thing.
He uses strafe to like, and he looks. That's just weird for me because I always keep my eyes centered on my crosshair.
Yeah, but
Usually you don't wanna do that. I even watched today some of videos about eye tracking, and it got told that usually like focusing your eyes on your crosshair is not really good, but rather than on the targets. And I don't know, maybe you wanna practice that somewhere somehow, but you wanna keep your eyes on the targets.
Join the gather. Well, come on.
I
When
don't
are
know,
you getting there?
sometimes looking real hard at the crosshair, of course, okay. What field of view do you guys like?
I
20,
play 20
max.
everything.
Max.
20 both sides.
See, I used to play 18
Based on
as Doggo
preference.
said, but I don't I don't think it's good. I think max is the best way to go.
Well, Doggo
Change
plays on a
Still a
different.
difference between
He
18 and 20.
plays on a different res than me.
So
Doggo also plays on 20 FPS, so
That too.
field of view, sensitivity, all these things don't matter. It's player preference.
And here we go.
You say that, but sometimes
100% player preference. Whatever feels good to you, then you use it. Okay, somebody could shoot, like maybe Schu uses 20, and Goss uses 10. There's no difference.
I heard that turning
I
off
would
your
not
models.
copy people's senses. Like you'll
Yes,
find
do
your
not
own
copy.
that you like.
Do
turn off
something
your
that you
what?
like.
God, who's playing that music?
I can hear it in his background.
We were all there once. Look
Alright.
at his snap.
Well, I guess they're done, yeah?
Look at us
I'm
now,
gonna-
Ranger.
I'm gonna
Uh,
click
thanks
off.
everybody. I'd like to huge thank you to loMe, schu, RangeR, all you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome, dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for doing this. Guess
Okay.
I'll go to the gather.
Hold on. Do you know how
Hold
to?
on, hold on,
You're
don't
not.
answer.
You're not learning comms stuff, buddy. Like you have a long road there.
RangeR,
Oh.
go over, build over.
Dude,
Wait.
there is no.
Wait,
good
if you
mobile
wanna
people
get a better command, just watch Ranger streams and.
No.
yeah.
Do not copy anything I do. You will lose.
Why?
My build orders are specifically
Ranger,
built
explain it
around
to
the
him,
teams
though.
I have. So I'll give you some basic ones, but like 100%, do not copy me. Do not
Oh,
copy
shit,
what
I
I'm
got
doing or my
distracted.
strats that I'm doing, because they are tailored for my teammates and what I'm trying to do. You should not do the same thing. For the basics though, we're gonna shoot. The round's not started. Can someone get an alien chair?
Oh, God damn it, did I just get kicked out of the gather?
No, you didn't.
You got picked really quick, so
What?
you're on a team. So anyway, I guess it started. So this is how a start is. So you're gonna drop your first 2 RTs. You're going to drop an arms lab in a good spot. You want it a far away enough distance from your command station, so if you get out and have to defend it, you don't instantly die. I highly suggest this. Like if you have to jump in a chair, press the key H, and you can see the health bars of your structures. If before you jump out, if you see your arms lab blinking, check its HP. It could be a skulk parasiting it. You don't want to jump out. He's on top of your chair. He's just gonna kill you. Anyway, so initial build order: 2 RTs, arms lab. You're gonna click on a marine. I'm clicking on nanonoob. I'm gonna A click over the tech plane warehouse. I'm gonna A click over server. There we go. We see it's in server, so it is a server start. Because there is no power node. You don't know where people start. And you're going to jump out, and you're going to build the arms lab. You finish it, you're going to start A1. You're going to probably drop your 4th node, let's say repair rooms, or whichever side it's succeeding. You're on 4 RTs, you're saving up 4 A2, you're meting a couple fights. Get your A2 up, you're probably going to get a 5th RT in ET. You're probably going to want a 2nd IP. You're going to start weapons 1 after. And you're going to go into an armory, an obs, get face tech, get your weapons 2 if you're really far ahead and don't need gates. And you're gonna get a Gaiden hub, weapons 2, you're gonna get shotguns. Generally, you're not gonna move past that, you're gonna get arcs, you're gonna try and arc out warehouse. If you get picks in between this before you start getting arcs, you're going to get a mesgate and you're gonna walk in the server. Let's say like you've killed 2 lurks, you've killed a fade, they have 1 fade. You're gonna get a mesgate, you're gonna walk in and try and kill that hive. But those are general build orders. For aliens, I can do that real quick. So I'd start, yeah, I said 2nd IP after E2. You would start warehouse, so you'd sys plat, you'd sys ore, you'd have a gorge, so you would have the drifter build ore. This isn't really gonna work on the start, but anyway. So you cap ore, you cap platform with the gorge. You're getting a server RT, you can get a server tunnel if you like, and then you're going to probably go crack hive into shells. You do not get biomass. You want that hive as fast as possible after your 3 shells while sitting on 4 RTs. After the first time ore dies, you're probably not recapping it until you get your 2nd hive.
Hello? What the fuck
And then
is
after that, you're going for leap and meta. So most likely you're gonna get meta first because by the time your second hype goes up, meta's going to be on that time. So you get a biomass, you get metabolize.
Just trying, my brain's already gotten bigger.
And then your next goal is Umbra. Umbra is huge. Umbra is really good on Lerks. It's super important to unlock. You want to get to Umbra as fast as possible. In pubs, Umbra is super good. People just don't get it. They don't know how to use it.
Yeah, especially because there are more players.
How to
what?
Use Umbra. No, it's good on all Lerks. Like, you're taking, like, if they're weapons 3, you're taking weapon 0 damage. Like,
Sure.
you're gonna win fights on Lerks.
Shut up, Ploblitz.
Nano noob.
Yo, Wraith,
You guys-
if you don't have T6, if you have T5 Lurks, man, I wouldn't go Umbra because they won't use it.
In pubs, I wouldn't even get Umbra. Nobody uses it.
Yeah.
Get spores. They like spores. It does damage.
Yeah.
6v6 though, you
If
want
they're
Umbra
hurt
all the way.
genuinely, get it for them.
Umbra is like game changer.
Now, if a lurk asks for Umbra, that usually means they know how to use it. Maybe get it then, but
Ranger, on a hive push, what should you prioritize Umbraing? Like your,
Players.
I mean, as a Lurk, like should you Umbra the hive or the teammates?
It depends. If you have a Crag and a Shift, you should be Umbraing the hive as well. In a hive push, you're probably just gonna be like if they're just nuking the hive, yes, you're going to want to Umbra it. Otherwise, you should be spiking Marines, trying to get chip on them. If you're the only person, you want to be spiking them up. So you're dodging up, you're getting some spikes on, and then you're waiting for a bone wall. Bone walls are super important in hive pushes. You are trying to split 1 or 2 Marines from the rest of the pack, and you're going to call it. For example, if I don't have 3 biomass, where's auto build? So let's say like there's 2 in front, like coming in, I'm gonna split them. So now there's 2 people split. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, bone wall, and now you're gonna go on the first 2 players. Bone walls are super important in clearing high pushes. You almost never go shift type in comp because most of these maps you get arced, so you absolutely need Crag and Shade. Pubs are different. Like bone walls don't even matter that much in pubs. Like they matter to some extent, but it's very situational, like map wise.
Alright, good thing we gotta go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cast that gather.
Wraith, you should just connect, like, when you have questions about build orders or you want to try new things, like, RangeR's good with that. He'll tell you, like, what he does, or just watch
I can
his
tell
stream.
you what will work before I try a strat. I can tell if a strat's gonna work before I even do it, or else I would never try it. Just because of how much RTS time I've had.
But I say it too, why I like watching his stream, Wraith, is because he knows the players, so he has the advantage of understanding, like, this is not gonna work because he's going like this, and Omega's terrible Lurk, so never do this because Omega's not gonna use Umbra. But like he'll know that type of side, so it adds a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, you gotta know the players and what they'll do. Like, if I have an Omega Lurk, I know he's not confident, so I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna get you Umbra, and you're gonna play safe with Umbra and spikes.
Yeah.
So it's very dependent on your players, what strats will work, which ones won't, and you'll get to learn that.
Or for instance, let's
Also,
say
friendly fire's on, so don't kill your teammate.
let's say, right, Ranger's commanding, and he has me, Tap, and Knifey on his team. He might go a fast second IP, because he'll know that we have constant pressure on their RTs.
They're gonna run at him.
Exactly.
Hold
So
W.
Exactly, he might hold. We're all gonna hold a W key. So
you
he'll
have
build
to-
a strat around that.
Yeah. You gotta play around your players. So if I know people are gonna high pressure, I need to play along with that. Unfortunately, in gathers, like unless you're like on a direct team, like you gotta play around your players.
I think
All right,
Ranger's really
really
well
quickly,
at that.
let me say something about gathers really quick, just so you guys know. So you can play in pubs and gathers. Once the gather starts, you hear that music. You can turn the music off, by the way. You just go into the gather.
Oh yeah,
Once
make
the
sure it's
music
low.
starts,
It's got black ears.
once the teams are made, because the captains, you can vote on captains, you can vote on the map. Once the captains pick the teams, you got 10 minutes. Obviously, you want to join as quick as possible, but you have 10 minutes to join or you get banned or kicked. And then You always have to join the Discord, and you always have to join the NSL server that's voted on. You can vote on anything that you want, so it's always important to know.
May I intrude for a second because Wraith is asking? So, any tips for a new commander in competitive?
Watch.
Yeah.
Watch a couple other commanders. Ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if Ranger's gonna be playing anytime soon.
Dude, if you're gonna
but
come,
what he does.
I'm not going to be. I think I got banned because I went to sleep last night.
Yeah, I saw. I watched 80s.
It was worth the sleep, by the way. But anyway, if you're interested in commanding a gather, if I'm around, hit me up. I'll give you. I can't go too hard, but I can give you some general tips to help you. So I can tell you what you should be doing and when, or I can run you a quick build order real quick.
The first time I played Gather and I commanded, maybe the first 2 times I commanded during team, he would text me or message me the entire like, this is what you're gonna do in the first 3 minutes. I'm like, all right, and it actually helped big time.
I'll just run you through what you should be doing to help you out, because commanding's a lot to deal with. You have to try and figure out tech paths, like, and tech paths are different, especially for 6v6, while knowing who to med, when to med. It's difficult. So make sure.
Ranger, we gotta go.
All right, let's go.
I'm not in this gather, but
All of you guys that are not in this game, and go to the New York City, and I'd recommend watching this game to see how it
if you
plays
want
out.
commentary, I'm commentating on my stream, or you can watch schu or loMe, I think, for first person, if you're interested in that.
All right.
Right. Thank you for the.
So, I'll watch your game. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Doesn't show you up.